We are starting on a different day and time than has been lately normal, and so hopefully our chance of cars is going to be less. I'm Morgan. If this is your first time here, I hope you find something that you enjoy, like. You'll go check out some of my other videos, and let's get started in fantasy with this week's new book releases. Our first book is Long Past Dues by James J. Butcher. This is the sequel to The Dead Man's Hand that came out last year. In that one, we're following Grimshaw Griswold Grimsby. Yep, said it right. Who is a failed wizard in Boston. He wanted to be an auditor, which is kind of like a magical police force, but due to being unable to control his magic properly from a childhood accident, he failed out of that. He couldn't do it, and then he was suspected of killing his mentor. That is, the first book is him trying to clear his name, not get arrested, and uncovered the truth of what happened with Leslie Mayflower, who was his mentor's partner before retirement. And now a plane, not just a car, but there's a plane. And in this one, though, he has, obviously cleared his name, and we are moving on to another case as him and Mayflower are trying to work through that. And he's trying to also master things better. I only vaguely read the description because I just knew I wanted to continue in this world with the Taco Fairy. Next up is going to be the adult debut of Cassandra Clare, which is the very anticipated sword catcher. In this one, it's in the vibrant city-state of Castelline, the richest of nobles and the most debauched of criminals have one thing in common: the constant search for wealth, power, and the next hedonistic thrill. Kell is an orphan stolen from the life he knew to become the sword catcher, the body double of a royal heir, Prince Connor Aurelian. He has been raised alongside the prince, trained in every aspect of combat and statecraft. He and Connor are close as brothers, but Kell knows he has one destiny: to die for Connor. No other future is possible. Lynn Castor is one of the Ashkar, a small community who still possesses magical abilities. By law, they must live behind the walls of the city, but Lynn, a physician, ventures out to tend to the sick and dying of Castelline. Despite her skills, she cannot heal her best friend Miriam without access to forbidden knowledge. After a failed assassination attempt brings Lynn and Kell together, they are drawn into the web of the mysterious Ragpicker King, the criminal ruler of the Castilian's underworld. He offers them each what they want most, but as they descend into his world of intrigue and shadow, they discover a conspiracy of corruption that reaches from the darkest gutters of Castelline to the highest towers of its palaces. As its long-kept secrets begin to unravel, they must ask themselves, is knowledge worth the price of betrayal? Can forbidden love bring down a kingdom, and will Lynn and Kell's discoveries plunge their nation into war and the world into chaos? So I'm intrigued by that. I do wonder how that's going to go as, her transitioning into adult. Because sometimes they still read, the first one they do as an adult still reads YA. And the description, still, Up next is An Inheritance of Magic by Benedict Jacka. The super rich control everything, including magic, in this thrilling, brilliant contemporary fantasy from the author of Alex versus Novels. Is this supposed to? No, this is a different one. The wealthy seem to exist in a different, glittering world from the rest of us, almost as if by magic. Stephen Oakwood is a young man on the edge of this hidden world. He has talent and potential, but turning that potential into magical power takes money, opportunity, and training. All Stephen has is a minimum wage job and a cat. But when a chance encounter with a member of House Ashford gets him noticed by the wrong people, Stephen is thrown in the deep end. For centuries, the vast corporations and aristocratic houses of the magical world have grown impossibly rich and influential by hoarding their knowledge. To survive, Stephen will take his talent and build it up into something greater, for only then can he beat them at their own game. So it sounds cool. And the covers, it's got two different covers. I think one might be the UK, I'm not sure. But this one is the US cover, and it's very cool. It has a cat. The other one it's nice in a simplistic kind of way. It's just got like a blue background and gold trimming. Next, of course, is going to be Secret Project 4, coming out in ebook and audiobook to the public. This one is going to be the most Cosmere connected novel, and takes place on a new planet, but with a character you have seen before. And I do not recommend reading that before if you have not read any Stormlight. Yeah, that's all I'll say. I'm going to have the review for this one out later this week, like spoiler free, and possibly the reading vlog of my first read through of it. first reactions to things. Maybe. I recorded myself. I don't know if I'm still putting that up yet. We'll find out. And our last fantasy book is going to be The 8 Reindeer of the Apocalypse by Tom Holt. This one is set in the world of the portable door. The team of commercial sorcerers at Dawson Harriman, I said that was so wrong, and Dawson can help with any metaphysical engineering project, large or small, though by definition they all tend to be pretty large. It can also create massive great puddles of chaos that might one day swallow up the entire universe. Take, for example, the decision to recruit a certain bearded fellow whose previous work experience mainly involves reindeer and jingle bells. It might have seemed like a good idea at the time, but is he really the best person to save the world from Tiamat the Destroyer, who has literally gone ballistic? Oh, I kind of think I want to read that. It sounds so funny. Oh my goodness. Maybe a Christmas read, right? Then we're going to move into YA fantasy, which we might only have the one. It's The Night Hunt by Alexandria Christo. Atia is a monster who feeds on fear. As the last of her kind, she hides in the shadows of the world to escape the wrath of the unpredictable gods. Silas is a herald, carrying messages and ferrying the dead as punishment for a past he can't remember. Stripped of his true name, he yearns to recover his identity. Atia would never dream of allying with someone like him, but when she breaks a sacred law and the gods send monsters to hunt her, Silas offers an irresistible deal. He'll help avenge her family and take on the gods who now hunt her, if she helps him break his curse and restore his humanity. All they need to do is kill 3 powerful creatures, a vampire, a banshee, and one of the very gods who destroyed both their lives. Only together can they finally rewrite their destinies. So it sounds kind of cool. It sounds interesting. It says, oh, she's the author of To Kill a Kingdom. This next one is going to be a YA fiction called The Blood Years by Elena K. Arnold. And this one is based on her grandmother's experiences growing up in her childhood in Romania during the Holocaust years. So heavy topics. Frederique Titler and her older sister Astra live in a house in a city in a world divided. Their father ran out on them when Renique was only 6, leaving their mother a wreck and their grandfather as their only stable family. He's done his best to provide for them and shield them from anti-Semitism, but now, 7 years later, being a Jew has become increasingly dangerous. Even in their beloved home of Krenzenwitz, long considered a safe haven for Jewish people, and when Astra falls in love and starts pulling away from her, Renique wonders if there's anything in her life she can count on, and if so, if she has the power to hold on to it. Then, war breaks out in Europe. First the Russians, then the Germans invade Chesenwitz. Almost overnight, Renique and Astra's world changes, and every day becomes a struggle to keep their grandfather's business, to keep their home, to keep their lives. Renique has long known that she exists in a world defined by those who have power and those who do not, and as those powers close in around her, she must decide whether holding on to her life might mean letting go of everything that has ever mattered to her, and if that's a choice she will even have the chance to make. From there, we will move into a YA horror. This is an anthology or a collection of short stories. It's Too Scared to Sleep by Andrew Duplessis. It's perfect for fans of like Five Nights at Freddy's, and apparently it has accompanying videos. A garbage disposal that feeds on flesh, a beloved stuffed rabbit that cooks up your parents, roses that require human blood to bloom. That reminds me of that book, The Depths. From blood-chilling horror to supernatural scares, this collection of short stories from debut author Andrew Duplessis offers something to stoke anyone's fear factor. But that's only the beginning. In a first ever twist, each story also comes with a pulse-pounding video that deepens the horror. Point your phone at the QR code and be prepared to scream. Maybe even share it with your friends if you dare. Ready or not, Too Scared to Sleep will answer the question, how brave are you really? We have a YA thriller next called Hatchet Girls by Diana Rodriguez Walsh. Set more than 100 years after the Borden murders, this propulsive supernatural thriller imagines what might happen if history were to repeat itself today. When Mariella Morse accuses her boyfriend, Vic Gomez, of murdering her wealthy parents with an axe, the town is quick to believe her. It doesn't help that Vic is caught standing over her parents' bodies with blood on his hands, unable to remember anything about the night in question. But Vic's sister, Tessa, knows that Vic would never be capable of such a gruesome crime. Haunted by the mistakes she made that led her family to move to Fall River, Massachusetts in the first place, she sets out to prove her brother's innocence. Tessa's search for answers will lead her into a sprawling, notoriously cursed forest where she and Mariella must face a darkness that has lurked within their town since before the days of Lizzie Borden, the original axe murderess of Fall River. For our adult thriller this week, we have You Always Come Back by Emily Smith. 9 years ago, Julie Weaver's little sister was one of the first victims of the Pacific Lake Killer, a serial killer in Georgia. When other girls began to disappear and were found dead, it was Julie's testimony that put her own father into prison for the crimes. After the sentencing, she fled to Nashville to focus on her music career and try to forget the horrible past. But when her brother tries to kill himself, July is forced to come back home and reunite with her 4 remaining siblings. What she isn't expecting to uncover is new evidence that makes her question everything that happened to her sister 9 years ago. Is it possible that July blamed the wrong person? Is it even possible that the Pacific Lake Killer is still out there? As the linchpin to the case against her father and the reason the Pacific Lake Killer case is closed, July knows that it isn't long before the killer will set their eyes back on her, if they're really still out there. I missaid her name. Whoopsie. Next, we have a psychological thriller called The Leftover Woman by Jean Kwok? Nope, I don't know. Jasmine Yang arrives in New York City from her rural Chinese village without money or family support, fleeing a controlling husband on a desperate search for her daughter who was taken from her at birth, another female casualty of China's controversial one-child policy. But with her husband on her trail, the clock is ticking, and she's forced to make increasingly risky decisions if she ever hopes to be reunited with her daughter. Meanwhile, publishing executive Rebecca Whitney seems to have it all: a prestigious family name and wealth that comes with it, a high-powered career, a beautiful home, a handsome husband, and an adopted Chinese daughter she adores. She's even hired a nanny to help her balance the demands of being a working wife and mother. But when an industry scandal threatens to jeopardize not only Rebecca's job, but her marriage, this perfect world begins to crumble and her role in her own family is called into question. So it says, The Leftover Woman finds these 2 unforgettable women on a shocking collision course, twisting and suspenseful and surprisingly poignant. It's a profound exploration of identity and belonging, motherhood and family. Moving into fiction, we have Shoot the Moon by Isa Arson. How far would you travel for love? Intelligent but isolated recent physics graduate Annie Fisk feels an undeniable pull toward space. Her childhood memories dimmed by loss, she has left behind her home, family, and her first love in pursuit of intellectual fulfillment. When she finally lands a job as NASA secretary during the Apollo 11 mission, the work is everything she dreamed, and while she feels a budding attraction to one of the engineers, she can't get distracted, not now. When her inability to ignore mistaken calculations propels her into a new position, Annie finds herself torn between her ambition, her heart, and a mysterious discovery that upends everything she knows to be scientifically true. Can she overcome her doubts and reach beyond the limits of time and space? A follow-up to an international bestseller, The Traveling Cat Chronicles, is just being translated, coming out this week in English, is The Goodbye Cat by Hiro Arkiwaya. I'm very sorry. And translated by Philip Gabriel. Against the backdrop of changing seasons in Japan, we meet Spin, a kitten rescued from the recycling bin, whose playful nature and simple needs teach the anxious father how to parent his own human baby. A colony of wild cats on a popular holiday island show a young boy not to stand in nature's way. A family is perplexed by their cat's undying devotion to their charismatic but uncaring father. A woman curses how her cat will not stop visiting her at night, and an elderly cat hatches a plan to pass into the next world as a spirit so that he and his owner may be in each other's lives forever. That's so sweet. And if I forgot to say at the beginning, this is a collection of short stories. And they all sound so sweet. Our next genre is romance, and the first one up is The Burnout by Sophia Kinsley? I don't know how to say her name. She can do anything, just not everything. Sasha had it. Oh, nope. She can do anything, just not everything. Sasha has had it. She cannot bring herself to respond to another inane, urgent, but obviously not at all urgent, email, or participate in the corporate employee joyfulness program. She hasn't seen her friends in months. Sex? Seems like a lot of effort. Even cooking dinner takes far too much planning. Sasha has hit a wall. Armed with good intentions to drink kale smoothies, try yoga, and find peace, she heads to the seaside resort she loved as a child. But it's the off-season, the hotel is in a dilapidated shambles, and she has to share the beach with the only other occupant, a grumpy guy named Finn who seems as stressed as Sasha. How can she commune with nature when he's sitting on her favorite rock, watching her? Nor can she agree how to best alleviate their burnout. Sasha, manifesting, wild swimming, Finn, drinking whiskey, getting pizza delivered to the beach. When curious messages, seemingly addressed to Sasha and Finn, begin to appear on the beach, the two are forced to talk about everything. How did they get so burned out? Can either of them remember something they used to love? Answer, surfing. And the question they try and fail to ignore, what does the energy between them, flaring even in the face of their bone-deep exhaustion, signify? Then we have Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. This is the sequel to The Christmas Bookshop. Christmas comes early, far too early for Macready's little old town bookshop in Edinburgh. It's summer, but an American production company has decided that Macready's is the perfect location to film a very cheesy Christmas movie. After all, who can resist the charming, narrow historic street with its Victorian gray stone buildings and warmly lit shop windows? Carmen Hogan, the bookshop's manager, is amused and a bit horrified by the goings-on, but the money the studio is paying is too good to pass up. She uses the little windfall from the filming to create new displays and fend off a buyout offer from an obnoxious millionaire who wants to turn Macready's into a souvenir shop selling kilts made in China and plastic Nessies. Okay. Still reeling slightly from a breakup, Carmen's not particularly looking forward to the holidays, but just as snow begins to fall and the lights of Christmas blink on, all sorts of lovely new possibilities present themselves for Macready's bookstore and for Carmen herself. Lastly is Love at 350 Degrees by Lisa Pierce. Food is their love language, but can they follow a recipe for romance? Tori Moore, high school chemistry teacher, avid home baker, and soon-to-be empty nester, auditions for the American Bake-O-Rama TV competition at the urging of her twin teenagers. The prize money could allow her to finally open her own bakery, but plagued by self-doubt after a messy divorce, is not only money standing between Tori and her dreams. Once on set in Sonoma wine country, Tori catches the eye of Kendra Campbell, the notoriously ruthless celebrity chef and Bake-O-Rama judge. This show is Kendra's ticket to financial security, but she's been told to soften her approach for viewers seeking feel-good entertainment. Quite the task after years of fighting for space in a male-dominated industry. Tori and Kendra find it increasingly hard to keep their distance through 6 slow-burn weeks of cooking challenges and kitchen disasters. For both, the best prize of all might just be love. I don't know, interesting. I didn't think cooking, TV cooking, was a male-dominated thing. And our last book of the week is a nonfiction called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life by Arnold Schwarzenegger. What an extraordinary life. Bodybuilder, actor, governor, and now author and thought leader. What? I thought he's had other books. I guess they were written about him. Not by him. I don't know. This is a candid, straightforward wisdom for success from someone who knows. The 7 rules to follow to realize your true purpose in life, distilled by Arnold Schwarzenegger from his own journey of ceaseless reinvention and extraordinary achievement, and available for absolutely anybody. It says, written in his uniquely earnest, blunt, and powerful voice, takes readers on an inspirational tour through Arnold's toolkit for a meaningful life. He shows us how to put those tools to work in service of whatever fulfilling future we can dream up for ourselves. It is getting warm in here with long sleeves, computer running, and all the lights, even though it's October now. But we have reached the end of our list of books anyway. Carl, maybe you found something intriguing sounding you want to put on your TBR list, or some you might have already pre-ordered, maybe. I just hope that you enjoyed this video, and if this is your first time, you'll go check out some of my others to see if you like my content. Like the Deep Sky book review, we'll have the Secret Project book review up later this week, and right now we are doing a giveaway for Dark Academia bookish goodies, so check out my October TBR to see how to enter that. And every Monday we do the new releases, so I really hope that you will subscribe, join the Discord to, see about maybe doing a book club thing, and just I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, y'all. Find something awesome to read. Hope you're finding something awesome to read. I'm gonna go. My brain's fried. Bye, y'all.